I never thought shame could have a sound until I heard my mother scream those words across a crowded restaurant. There I was, sitting across from her on my 28th birthday, wearing a smile I'd practiced in the mirror that morning, trying to believe this dinner might be different. The waiter had just brought our appetizers when she leaned forward, her voice rising above the gentle piano music, and said it. "You were the child we never wanted, Adrian. Your father and I tried everything to avoid having you." The fork slipped from my hand. Around us, conversation stopped. A woman at the next table gasped. My mother didn't even flinch. She just sat there, perfectly composed, her lipstick still flawless, her eyes cold and steady. That moment should have destroyed me. Maybe part of me expected it to. But what she didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this. Not for those exact words, but for something like them. Because 3 weeks earlier, I'd found a letter hidden in her desk drawer. A letter that explained everything. And today, I was finally ready to let the truth come to light. My name is Adrian Blake, and I'm 28 years old. I work as a graphic designer in Seattle, and I live in a small studio apartment with a view of the water if you stand on your tiptoes and lean out the window just right. I've always been the quiet one, the middle child nobody quite knew what to do with. My older sister, Vanessa, is 33 and perfect. She's a corporate lawyer, married to a surgeon, living in a house with actual curtains that match the furniture. My younger brother, Oliver, is 24 and charming. He's in medical school, following in our father's footsteps, making everyone proud without even trying. Then there's me. I wasn't terrible at anything, but I wasn't great at the things that mattered to my parents either. I chose art over medicine. I rented instead of buying. I stayed single instead of settling. My mother, Patricia Blake, made sure I knew what a disappointment that was. Not always with words. Sometimes it was just the way she'd introduce me at family gatherings. "This is Adrian. He does computer things." Like my work was a hobby, not a career. Growing up, I always felt like I was watching my own life from outside the window. Vanessa got the biggest bedroom. Oliver got the praise. I got the leftover attention when it was convenient. When I made the honor roll, my mother said, "Well, Oliver got straight A's." When I won a regional art competition in high school, she asked if it came with scholarship money. When I told her I wanted to study design, she said, "That's nice, but what's your real plan?" I learned early that love in our house wasn't unconditional. It was earned. And somehow, I was always a few points short. But I kept trying. I called every week. I showed up to holidays even when I wasn't directly invited. I sent thoughtful gifts. I asked about their lives. I pretended not to notice when they forgot mine. Then last month, I went to their house to water the plants while they were on vacation. My mother had asked me to do it, one of the rare moments she actually needed something from me. While I was there, I noticed her desk drawer was slightly open. I wasn't snooping. Not at first. I was just closing the drawer when I saw the edge of an envelope with my father's handwriting on it. The date was from 29 years ago, just months before I was born. Curiosity got the better of me. I pulled it out carefully, my hands already shaking. Inside was a letter from my father to my mother. It was typed, formal, like a business document. The first line made my stomach drop. "Patricia, I know this news is devastating. We agreed 2 children were enough. Vanessa is thriving, and we're finally in a stable place financially and emotionally. Another child was never part of our plan." I sat down on the floor, still holding the letter. My father continued, explaining how they discussed options. Adoption, termination, keeping me, but remaining emotionally distant, so I wouldn't disrupt the family dynamic they'd carefully built. He wrote about how they feared I'd drain their resources, that Vanessa and Oliver's futures might suffer because of me. The letter ended with a line I'll never forget. "If we're going to do this, we do it strategically. This child will not define us." I sat there for nearly an hour, reading and rereading those words. Everything suddenly made sense. The coldness, the comparisons, the feeling that I was always in the way. It wasn't in my head. It wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was because they never wanted me in the first place. I thought about confronting them immediately, screaming, demanding an explanation. But something stopped me. Maybe it was years of being taught to stay quiet. Or maybe it was something smarter. I took a photo of the letter with my phone, folded the original carefully, and put it back exactly where I found it. Then I finished watering the plants and left. Over the next few weeks, I carried that secret like a stone in my chest. I went to work. I answered my mother's occasional texts. I pretended everything was normal. But inside I was planning. Because I realized something important. If I confronted them privately, they'd deny it. They'd gaslight me. They'd make me feel crazy. I needed a witness. I needed proof. I needed the truth to come out in a way they couldn't control. That's when I thought of Dr. Hannah Reeves. She was the family therapist my mother had insisted we all see 2 years ago during what she called a communication rough patch. In reality, it was because Vanessa had stopped coming to Sunday dinners and my mother couldn't handle the optics. We went to 3 sessions. My mother did most of the talking. Dr. Reeves listened carefully, asked thoughtful questions, and gave us exercises we never completed. Eventually, my mother decided we were fixed and stopped scheduling appointments. But I remember Dr. Reeves. She was kind, observant, and most importantly, she'd seen how my family operated. She knew the dynamics. She knew my mother's patterns. So I called her office and scheduled an appointment. Just for me this time. When I arrived, Dr. Reeves greeted me warmly. "Adrian, it's good to see you. How have you been?" I sat down on the familiar couch and said, "I need your help with something. But first, I need to tell you the truth about my family. The real truth." Dr. Reeves listened as I explained everything. The letter. The years of feeling unwanted. The way my parents had treated me compared to my siblings. She didn't interrupt. She didn't dismiss me. She just listened, her expression calm but attentive. When I finished, she leaned forward slightly. "Adrian, what you've described is a form of emotional neglect and systemic favoritism. It's more common than people realize, but that doesn't make it any less damaging." I nodded, my throat tight. I need to confront them. But I can't do it alone. If I bring this up at home, they'll shut me down. They'll make me feel like I'm overreacting or imagining things. Dr. Reeves considered this carefully. "What are you thinking?" "I want to schedule a family session. Tell them it's for closure or communication or whatever sounds reasonable. And during that session, I want to show them the letter. I want them to explain it in front of someone who can't be manipulated." She was quiet for a moment. "That's a significant confrontation. Are you prepared for the fallout?" I met her eyes. "I've been living with the fallout my entire life. It's their turn now." We scheduled the session for 3 weeks out. Dr. Reeves agreed to facilitate, but she warned me it would be intense. "Your parents may react defensively. They may deny. They may try to reframe the narrative. You need to be ready for that." I was ready. Or at least I thought I was. The hard part was convincing my family to show up. I started with my mother. "Mom, I've been thinking a lot about our family dynamics lately." I talked to Dr. Reeves, and she suggested we do a session together, just to clear the air and make sure we're all on the same page moving forward. My mother sighed. "Adrian, we don't need therapy. We're fine." "I know, but it would mean a lot to me. Just one session. Please." She hesitated, then agreed. Probably because refusing would have made her look bad. My father was easier. He just said, "If your mother thinks it's necessary, I'll be there." Vanessa and Oliver were harder to convince, but eventually they agreed too. They didn't know what was coming. None of them did. The session was scheduled for a Thursday afternoon, the same week as my birthday. The days leading up to the session were surreal. I went to work. I grocery shopped. I called my mother to confirm dinner plans for my birthday, which fell 2 days before the therapy appointment. She suggested her favorite restaurant, the one with the white tablecloths and the piano player. I agreed. I knew what I was doing. I was giving her one last chance to show me I mattered. One last opportunity for her to prove that maybe, somehow, I'd misunderstood that letter. That maybe she changed. That maybe she loved me, after all. But deep down I knew better. The birthday dinner was exactly what I expected. My father didn't come. He said he had a late surgery. Vanessa and Oliver didn't come either. They both had excuses that sounded reasonable but felt rehearsed. It was just me and my mother sitting across from each other in a restaurant full of strangers. She ordered for both of us without asking what I wanted. She talked about Vanessa's recent promotion and Oliver's excellent grades. She didn't ask about my work or my life. It was like I was a guest at someone else's birthday party. Then, halfway through the meal, I made a mistake. I tried to connect. Mom, I've been working on this new project at work. It's a rebranding campaign for a nonprofit that helps kids in foster care. It's really meaningful to me. She barely looked up from her plate. That's nice, Adrian. I thought maybe you'd want to see some of the designs. I'm really proud of them. She sighed, setting down her fork. Adrian, can we not do this tonight? Do what? This thing where you try to make your hobbies sound important. It's exhausting. The words hit me like a slap. Around us, the restaurant buzzed with laughter and conversation, but at our table, there was only silence. I felt something inside me crack. Not break. Just crack enough to let the truth slip through. Why did you even have me? I asked quietly. Her eyes narrowed. Excuse me. Why did you have me if you didn't want me? That's when she said it, loud enough for the entire section to hear. You were the child we never wanted, Adrian. Your father and I tried everything to avoid having you. The restaurant went silent. I could feel eyes on us, but I couldn't move. My mother continued, her voice cold and measured. We had a plan. 2 children. A perfect family. And then you came along and ruined everything. I stared at her, waiting for her to realize what she just said. Waiting for her to take it back, to apologize, to show even a flicker of regret. But she just picked up her fork and continued eating like she'd commented on the weather. I stood up slowly, my legs shaking. I'm leaving. Sit down, Adrian. You're making a scene. No, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'm done making this easy for you. I walked out of that restaurant with my head high, even though my vision was blurred with tears. Behind me, I heard the waiter ask if everything was okay. I didn't hear her response. I didn't care. Because in 2 days, she was going to sit in Dr. Reeves' office and face the truth. And this time, there would be witnesses. This time, she wouldn't be able to pretend it never happened. The night before the therapy session, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying my mother's words in my head, over and over, like a song I couldn't turn off. You were the child we never wanted. Part of me wondered if I was making a mistake. If airing this out in front of everyone would just make things worse. If maybe I should just let it go, move on, build a life without them, and stop caring whether they loved me. But then I thought about the letter. I thought about all the years I'd spent trying to earn affection that was never going to come. I thought about the birthday dinners where I sat alone, the family photos where I was cropped out, the achievements that were ignored. I thought about the little boy I used to be, desperate for his parents' approval, wondering what he'd done wrong. That little boy deserved better, and the man I'd become deserved the truth. So when Thursday afternoon arrived, I got dressed carefully. I wore a button-down shirt and clean jeans. I printed a copy of the letter and put it in a folder. And I drove to Dr. Reeves' office with my hand steady on the wheel. I arrived 15 minutes early. Dr. Reeves greeted me in the waiting room, her expression warm but professional. How are you feeling? She asked quietly. Terrified, I admitted. That's normal. Remember, you're in control here. If at any point you need to stop, just say the word. I nodded, grateful. My family arrived together exactly on time. My mother walked in first, her posture perfect, her smile polite. My father followed, checking his watch. Vanessa and Oliver came in last, both looking mildly annoyed at having to be there. Adrian, my mother said, her voice pleasant. I hope this doesn't take too long. I have a hair appointment at 4. Dr. Reeves gestured toward her office. Let's get started. We filed in and took our seats. The room was familiar, couches arranged in a circle, soft lighting, a box of tissues on the side table. Dr. Reeves sat in her chair and looked around the room. Thank you all for coming. Adrian asked for this session because he has some things he needs to discuss with the family. I'm here to facilitate that conversation and make sure everyone feels heard. My mother smiled tightly. Of course. We're always happy to support Adrian when he's struggling. That word. Struggling. Like I was the problem. Like I was broken and they were the gracious helpers. Dr. Reeves turned to me. Adrian, would you like to start? I took a deep breath and pulled the folder from my bag. 3 weeks ago, I found something at your house, Mom. I was watering the plants while you were on vacation, and I found a letter in your desk drawer. My mother's expression didn't change, but I saw her hands tighten slightly in her lap. A letter from Dad, written 29 years ago, right before I was born. The room shifted. Vanessa glanced at Oliver. My father's jaw tightened. I wasn't snooping, I continued. The drawer was open, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So I read it, and I think everyone here should know what it says. I opened the folder and began to read aloud. Patricia, I know this news is devastating. We agreed 2 children were enough. Vanessa is thriving, and we're finally in a stable place financially and emotionally. Another child was never part of our plan. My voice wavered, but I kept going. I read the entire letter, every cold, calculated word. When I finished, the silence in the room was suffocating. Vanessa's face had gone pale. Oliver stared at the floor. My father wouldn't look at me. My mother sat perfectly still, her expression unreadable. Dr. Reeves spoke gently. Patricia, how do you respond to what Adrian just shared? My mother's voice was calm, almost dismissive. That letter was private. Adrian had no right to read it. But do you deny what it says? Dr. Reeves asked. My mother hesitated. It was a difficult time. We were overwhelmed. People say things they don't mean when they're scared. Scared of what? I asked, my voice breaking. Scared of me? Scared of your own child. She finally looked at me, and for a moment I thought I saw something flicker in her eyes. Regret, maybe. Or guilt. But then it was gone. You don't understand what it was like, Adrian. We had just gotten Vanessa into the right schools. Your father's career was taking off. We had plans. And then I got pregnant again, and everything fell apart. So you blamed me, I said quietly, for existing. We didn't blame you, my father said, speaking for the first time. His voice was measured, clinical. We adjusted. We made it work. You made it work by pretending I didn't matter, I shot back. By treating me like an inconvenience. By making sure I knew I was never good enough. Vanessa spoke up, her voice shaky. Adrian, I didn't know. I swear I had no idea. Neither did I, Oliver added. We never thought. Of course you didn't, I said. Because you were the wanted ones. You were the plan. I was the mistake. My mother's face flushed. Stop being dramatic. Dramatic. I stood up, my hands shaking. You screamed at me in a restaurant 2 days ago that I was the child you never wanted. In front of strangers. On my birthday. And you think I'm being dramatic. Dr. Reeves intervened. Patricia, that's a very serious statement. Did you say that to Adrian? My mother looked away. I was upset. He was pushing me. So you said it, Dr. Reeves confirmed. Yes, my mother admitted. But I didn't mean it the way he's making it sound. Then how did you mean it? I asked, my voice raw. Because from where I'm standing, it sounds exactly like what's in that letter. It sounds like you felt that way my entire life. My mother stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. I'm not sitting here and being attacked by my own son. Sit down, Patricia, Dr. Reeves said firmly. My mother froze, clearly not used to being told what to do. Slowly, she sat back down. Dr. Reeves looked at my father. William, you wrote that letter. You outlined a plan to remain emotionally distant from Adrian. How do you feel about that now? My father cleared his throat. I was young. We were stressed. I don't think I understood the long-term implications of what I was saying. But you followed through, I said. You did exactly what that letter said. You kept me at arm's length. You prioritized Vanessa and Oliver. You made sure I knew I wasn't as important. He didn't deny it. He just sat there, looking uncomfortable. Oliver spoke quietly. Adrian, I'm sorry. I never realized how different things were for you. Vanessa nodded, tears in her eyes. Me too. I always thought you were just more independent. I didn't know you were being pushed away. Their words should have felt good. But they didn't. Because the people who owed me an apology weren't giving one. My mother sat with her arms crossed, her face set in a hard line. My father stared at his hands, silent. Dr. Reeves addressed them directly. Patricia, William, your son is telling you that he's felt unwanted and unloved his entire life. He's showing you written evidence that those feelings are rooted in your own words and actions. How do you respond to that? My mother's voice was tight. I respond by saying that parenting is hard, that nobody's perfect, that Adrian is choosing to focus on one letter from 30 years ago instead of everything we've done for him. What have you done for me? I asked, genuinely curious. She blinked. We raised you. We fed you. We gave you a home. That's the bare minimum, I said. That's what you're legally required to do. I'm asking what you did to make me feel loved, to make me feel wanted, to make me feel like I mattered as much as Vanessa and Oliver. She couldn't answer, because there was no answer. Dr. Reeves spoke gently but firmly. Patricia, this is an opportunity for healing, for honesty. Your son is asking for acknowledgement, not perfection. Can you give him that? My mother's face crumpled, but not with sadness, with anger. Fine. You want honesty, Adrian? Here it is. Yes, you weren't planned. Yes, it was hard. Yes, I resented the timing. But I still raised you. I still made sure you had what you needed. If that's not enough for you, then maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe it's you. The room went silent. Even Dr. Reeves looked shocked. I felt something inside me break completely. Not crack. Break. But instead of falling apart, I felt something else. Clarity. Freedom. Relief. Thank you, I said quietly. For what? My mother snapped. For finally telling the truth. For finally admitting what I've known my whole life. That you didn't want me. That you resented me. That I was a burden you tolerated, not a child you loved. My father spoke, his voice heavy. Adrian, that's not entirely fair. Isn't it? I turned to him. Tell me one time you chose me over work. One birthday you didn't miss. One achievement you celebrated without comparing it to Vanessa or Oliver. He couldn't. The silence stretched between us like a canyon. Dr. Reeves looked at me. Adrian, what do you need from this conversation? I thought about it carefully. I need them to admit it. Not to make excuses. Not to justify it. Just to admit that they treated me differently. That they made me feel unwanted. And that it was wrong. Vanessa spoke softly. I admit it. I saw it, and I didn't say anything. I'm sorry. Oliver nodded. Me too. I'm sorry, Adrian. My father cleared his throat. I could have done better. I should have done better. I'm sorry. 3 apologies. But not the 2 that mattered. My mother sat frozen, her face pale. Dr. Reeves turned to her. Patricia. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. I don't know what you want me to say. The truth, I said. Just the truth. She looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in years. And then she said something I never expected. I'm not sorry. The room seemed to tilt. What? I breathed. I'm not sorry, she repeated, stronger now. I did what I had to do. I protected my family, my marriage, my life. If you can't understand that, then that's your problem, not mine. I stood up. This time I didn't shake. I didn't cry. I just stood. Okay, I said calmly. Then I'm done. Done with what? She asked. Done with this. Done trying to earn your love. Done showing up to dinners where I'm invisible. Done pretending we're a family when you've made it clear I'm just the mistake you were stuck with. My father stood. Adrian, don't be rash. I'm not being rash, Dad. I'm being honest. For the first time in my life, I'm being completely honest. I looked at Vanessa and Oliver. I don't blame you. You didn't know. But I need space from all of this for a while. They nodded, both looking heartbroken. I turned to Dr. Reeves. Thank you for doing this. I know it wasn't easy. She gave me a small, sad smile. You're braver than you know, Adrian. Then I walked to the door. My mother's voice stopped me. If you walk out that door, don't expect me to chase you. I turned back one last time. I've spent my whole life hoping you would. I'm not hoping anymore. And I left. I walked out of that office, down the stairs, into the parking lot. I got in my car, closed the door, and sat in the silence. For a long time, I just sat there. Not crying. Not angry. Just quiet. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Vanessa. I'm so sorry. I love you. Please don't disappear completely. Then one from Oliver. You deserve better. Let me know when you're ready to talk. I didn't respond right away. I just drove home, made a cup of tea, and sat on my couch looking out at the water. The next few days were strange. I waited for the guilt to come, for the regret, for the voice in my head that would tell me I'd gone too far. But it never came. Instead, I felt lighter. Like I've been carrying a backpack full of rocks my entire life and finally set it down. My mother didn't call. My father sent one text asking if we could talk, but when I didn't respond immediately, he didn't follow up. Vanessa and Oliver checked in daily. We started having coffee together, just the three of us. It was different without our parents there. Easier. More real. One afternoon, Vanessa asked, "Do you regret it? Confronting them like that?" I thought about it carefully. No. I regret that it had to happen, but I don't regret doing it. 2 months passed. I threw myself into work, into my art, into building a life that felt like mine. I started therapy with Dr. Reeves, just me this time. We talked about boundaries, about healing, about what it means to grieve a relationship that never really existed. You're mourning the parents you deserved, not the ones you had, she told me. That felt true. I also started dating someone. Her name was Isla, and she was kind and funny and had no idea who my family was. When she asked about them, I said simply, "We're not close." She didn't push. One evening, my phone rang. It was my father. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Adrian," he said, his voice rough. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said. About the letter. About everything." I waited. "You were right. We did treat you differently. I treated you differently. And I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I needed you to know. It wasn't enough. But it was something. Thank you," I said quietly. "Is Mom there?" He hesitated. "She's struggling with this. She doesn't know how to admit she was wrong." "Then she doesn't have to," I said. "I'm not asking for her approval anymore. I'm just living my life. Can I see you sometime? Just me." I thought about it. Maybe. Eventually. But not yet. He accepted that. We hung up, and I felt something shift. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But the possibility of it. Months later, I got an invitation to Vanessa's anniversary party. My parents would be there. I debated going. Isla offered to come with me for support. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked. "I'm sure," I said. "I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it because I want to see Vanessa and Oliver. And because I'm not going to let my parents keep me from the family I do have." The party was at a nice restaurant. When I walked in with Isla, I saw my mother across the room. Our eyes met. She looked older, tired. She didn't smile, but she didn't look away either. My father came over, shook my hand, and greeted Isla warmly. Vanessa hugged me tight. "I'm so glad you came." The evening was awkward at first, but it got easier. I talked to cousins I hadn't seen in years. I laughed with Oliver. I introduced Isla to people who actually seemed interested in my life. My mother kept her distance. At one point, she walked past me to refill her drink. She paused, then said quietly, "You look happy." "I am," I said. She nodded and kept walking. That was the closest we came to a conversation. And honestly, it was enough. Because I realized something important that night. I didn't need her to change. I didn't need her to apologize. I didn't need her to suddenly become the mother I'd always wanted. I just needed to stop waiting for it. I needed to build a life where her approval didn't matter. Where her words didn't define me. Where I could be happy without her permission. And I did. I built that life. It wasn't perfect. There were hard days, moments when I still felt the sting of those old wounds. But there were also good days. Days when I laughed with Isla. Days when I created something beautiful. Days when I looked in the mirror and liked the person looking back. 6 months after that party, I got a package in the mail. Inside was the original letter, the one I'd found in my mother's desk. With it was a note in my father's handwriting. You were right to confront us. This letter should never have been written. I'm sorry for the pain it caused. I'm working on being better. I hope someday you'll let me try. I put the letter in a box with other things from my past. Things I didn't need anymore, but wasn't ready to throw away. Then I closed the box and put it on a shelf. That evening, Isla and I sat on my couch watching the sunset over the water. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. And I meant it. Because, for the first time in my life, I wasn't the child they never wanted. I was just Adrian. And that was more than enough.